Have you noticed that a lot of things these days just don't feel worth the money anymore? Like, do you remember when this used to feel fun and not like a scam?
What can I get for you?
Could I just get a flat white? Large?
No worries, large. Anything else?
No, that should be all, thank you.
Perfect. Come on.
Thanks. Have a good day.
This was $7. And it's just a flat white. It's good coffee, but $7. I didn't even get anything fun in it. Things just don't feel worth the money anymore. I like to track our spending pretty closely just to make sure that we're not going crazy on stuff. And over the last few years, I just feel like I've noticed things are just way more expensive than they used to be. And a really simple example of that is the coffee I just drank. That coffee was $7 and I didn't get any crazy add-ons. It was just a regular cup of coffee. Just a few years ago, that coffee was like $4.50, maybe $5. Back then, I have to admit, it did feel harmless. And you're probably thinking, only a couple of dollars, Riley, like you're being pretty stingy. But just to go from a $5 to a $7 cost, that's a 40% markup. And at the end of the day, I'm drinking the same coffee. My wife and I used to grab a coffee a few times a week, usually just on our way to work, but now it's just so expensive. And that's the thing. It's not that the coffee became suddenly bad or anything. It's that the value equation has changed. The price has almost doubled, but the experience is just exactly the same. So now my wife and I hardly buy coffee out anymore. Instead, we grind our own beans at home and just do simple pour over coffees. Or if we're in a pinch for time, or let's be honest, just lazy like me, we've also been using these coffee concentrates and they've been great. Super quick, just a bit of this, some ice, some milk, and you've got yourself a pretty good iced latte that cost me about $1.50. So quick, tasty, and so much cheaper. Now listen to me say this. Don't be lazy, go pick up your food. On the surface, Uber Eats, DoorDash, all those food delivery apps, they feel harmless, they feel innocent, and I won't lie, they are super convenient. You open your phone, you just tap a few buttons, and the food is suddenly at your door ready to eat. You don't even have to do dishes afterwards. It's pretty good. But when you actually look at what you're paying for, it starts to get a little bit wild. Most menu items are already way more expensive than they usually would be if you just ordered in store or even just calling the restaurant directly. The reason they do this is to offset commission fees that Uber Eats and DoorDash like to charge their restaurants. And they charge these restaurants in every single order. And then you add delivery fees, you add the small service fees, and sometimes even a small order fee on top. It's like, what even are all these fees? And by the time your food arrives, you've paid 30 to 100% more than you would have if you just called the restaurant directly and gone and picked up your food. And let's be honest, the food usually isn't even as good when it arrives. It's colder, it's not as fresh, and sometimes the order is even wrong. And we both know if you're too lazy to go pick up your food, you're definitely too lazy to drive back to the restaurant, complain about your order, wait for a replacement, and then drive it back. Oftentimes, if you get a wrong order, you just end up eating it anyway, and it's just kind of sad. Sophie and I have never really been in that habit of ordering through Uber Eats or DoorDash, but sometimes when we are away, we don't really want to leave the hotel room, so we will download Uber Eats just to check it out. But like I've got it here, once we see that a pizza it's $32. And that isn't even with the delivery fee included. See, I no longer feel hungry anymore. Convenience is only worth paying for it if it actually makes your life better. By the time the pizza gets here, it's gonna be cold. So most of the time, the convenience of food delivery is just not worth it, especially when you go through those apps that like to charge all their extra fees. But anyway, guys, I am late for a haircut, so I will see you guys this afternoon where I keep recording this video. That's better. Had a haircut, had a shower, feeling good. So now I want to talk to you about buying a new car, because buying a brand new car is like the fastest way to burn your money. And I learned that pretty early on. I remember sitting in grade 12 math and my math teacher explained how much interest you would pay on a new car. And I just told myself there and then, if I can't buy that car outright, I am not financing a new car. And then on top of that, what my math teacher did not cover was how much value your car loses the second you drive it off the lot, because the depreciation of the value of that car hits a lot harder than some people think. The second you start driving that car down the road, you lose something like 20% of the car's original value. So let's say that you bought a $50,000 car. That means you're losing 10 grand of the car's value the second you drive it away. Plus, you're also paying that premium because it's new. Whereas if you bought a 2 to 3 year old car, it basically gives you the same amount of reliability, but just for a lot less money. So if we ever bought a new car, the only way I would ever do it would be to buy it outright. So I would need the cash there and then, because there's no way that I'm financing an asset that depreciates so quickly. And that's another thing, buy now, pay later schemes. These days, there is a way to finance absolutely everything. And it's really changed how people spend because debt has become so easy to access to a wide array of people. Afterpay, Klarna, ZipPay, they are all traps. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. You can finance your phone, furniture, clothes, even groceries. Like, who finances their toothpaste? Okay, the scary part is the interest rate, but the thing that I find most scary is how normal it's become in some people's lives. My wife and I live by some pretty simple rules. One of them is if you don't have the money to buy that thing right there and then, just don't buy it. Because when everything can just be paid off in little increments, everything starts to feel affordable, even when it's really not a good idea. Oh, that Birkin bag is only $50 every week for the rest of my life. Sure. Borrowing from your future to pay for something that won't make you more money in the future can be super destructive to your finances. And when you zoom out and see that it's crippling all of your cash flow on top of charging you interest, it's pretty hard to unsee. So I hope it stays like this for a long time. The only thing that we will ever have debt on is our mortgage. Travel is one category that we still are happy to spend money on, but the approach has changed drastically from how we used to do it in our early 20s. Flights are so much more expensive than they were pre-COVID. Accommodation is more expensive. A short trip anywhere can turn into a couple of $1,000s really, really quickly. So instead of booking impulsively, we plan our travel out pretty far in advance. We actually save for it intentionally, and we, again, do not finance any of it ever. That way, the trip stays a good memory for life instead of turning into stress about our credit card debt later. And what helps this is that we're both nurses who work in a busy emergency department. So we're kind of forced to have these trips planned out 6, 8, 10, 12 months in advance. Because if we're booking leave for next month, we're probably not going to get it because all of the leave would be gone from our department from that month. So they wouldn't be able to approve it. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any nurses. So knowing about these trips early on gives us time to budget and plan for them, but it also gives us the opportunity to look out for flight deals and sales. For example, we always knew we were going to go on a trip at some point in the middle of this year. And when I saw flight deals return for free that go from here to Japan, we were planning to go to New Zealand, but ever since we went to Japan last year, we've been missing it so much. So we're going over there again to see what we missed. Travel still feels worth it, but only when it's done deliberately and when you're not spending 15% of your annual income just on a whim. Especially when surveys say that 1 in 5 Australians have less than $100 in their bank account. That's crazy to me that some of these people are buying plane tickets whenever they have a little extra cash lying around. Subscriptions might be one of the sneakiest money leaks. Individually, they feel cheap. $10 here, $15 there. But when you stack them up all together, they add up very, very quickly. Streaming was meant to replace cable, but now it's basically just cable all over again because you have to subscribe to so many different apps and so many different streaming services just to watch the things that you want to watch. So if you and I try to keep to just 1 or 2 subscriptions at a time, and then we cancel and rotate them depending on what we want to be watching. If we're not using something regularly, like our Netflix subscription this month, it's gone. A lot of spending isn't even driven by need. It's driven by expectation. Weddings, renovations, furniture upgrades. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's a smart decision for your situation. A lot of us get caught getting swept up in the highlight reel that is everyone's life on Instagram. So we feel like we have to overspend just to match those expectations. But starting married life, for example, in debt isn't the best situation. And stretching your finances to impress people who might not be around in 5 years is also not the best decision either. That sort of thing rarely pays off in the long term. The biggest issue is not just inflation. It's that prices have gone up, the experience attached to that price just hasn't, or it's even maybe declined. We've taken stock of our lives and we've adjusted. Not by cutting out joy, but just by cutting out the waste. We make sure we spend money on things that genuinely improve our lives, and we try not to get emotional when we let go of the rest. Money is just a tool in all of our lives, and once you start using it that way, everything changes. Now I am curious, what is one thing that you guys have stopped spending your money on in the recent months? Maybe because it's just way expensive now, maybe because your priorities have changed, maybe just because it doesn't feel worth it anymore. Let me know down in the comments. And if this video helped you at all, or even if you just enjoyed it, hit like for me so it can be pushed out to more people and hopefully help them as well. Also, I'd really love it if you stuck around, so hit subscribe and come along on this financial journey with me. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. And as always, I wish you the very, very best on your wealth building journey. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, you should click here. No, because YouTube thinks you'll like this video. You should click it. No, but seriously. Come on, why haven't you clicked it yet?